The story of Aero is deeply entwined with the birth of modern Czechoslovakia. The company, officially founded in 1919 in Prague, began not by building cars, but by manufacturing and repairing the very machines that inspired their design philosophy: aircraft. Following the First World War, there was a surplus of aviation engineers and a pressing need for a domestic transportation industry. Aero quickly became a major producer of military and civilian aircraft, setting the stage for a dramatic transition to road vehicles. The shift to automobiles was driven by the desire to diversify and apply aviation principles, lightness, simplicity, and aerodynamic efficiency to everyday transport. The first automotive prototypes appeared in the late 1920s. Aero's initial approach to car manufacturing was profoundly minimalistic. Unlike contemporary luxury manufacturers, they aimed to produce reliable, affordable cars accessible to a wider, emerging middle class, particularly in the difficult economic climate of the late 1920s. The very first production car was the Aero 500, launched in 1929. Its numerical designation referred to its engine displacement, a tiny 500cc single-cylinder two-stroke engine. This choice was radical and dictated the entire philosophy of the car. This little two-stroke engine was based on a design originally used in motorcycles, specifically the lightweight CZ motorcycle. It was simple, easy to maintain, and offered surprisingly brisk performance for its size due to the car's extremely low curb weight. The engine delivered a modest output, initially around 10 horsepower, but the two-stroke design, which fires every revolution, gave it a unique sound and characteristic of surprising torque for such a small motor. The chassis design was equally innovative for its minimalist intent. The Aero 500 utilized a front-wheel drive (FWD) layout, which was highly unusual for the time, especially in mass-produced cars, echoing the advanced designs of brands like Adler. The FWD setup allowed for a low center of gravity and excellent use of interior space. This architecture maximized passenger comfort in a car that was otherwise very small, appealing directly to urban and efficiency-conscious buyers. The body styles of the Aero 500 were often simple and utilitarian, including open roadsters and small two-seater convertibles. They reflected a playful, almost carefree spirit common to the smaller, independent European manufacturers of the era. Despite its small size, the Aero 500 quickly gained a reputation for its toughness and excellent handling. The car's lightweight design meant it could navigate rough roads and tight corners with surprising agility. The price point was crucial. By minimizing the complexity of the engine and using lightweight construction, Aero could offer the 500 at a cost significantly lower than that of contemporary rivals, making it an immediate commercial success in Czechoslovakia. The company did not rely solely on commerce. It quickly put the Aero 500 to the test in motorsport. This was a classic strategy, proving the car's durability and surprising speed in reliability trials in smaller local races. These early racing efforts, often driven by factory employees, highlighted the engine's reliability under sustained stress. The wins, though often in smaller classes, provided invaluable marketing material for the new division. The Aero factory, situated near the airfields in Prague, fostered a unique culture. Engineers and designers moved seamlessly between aircraft development and car design, ensuring the vehicles inherited the best of aviation safety and efficiency standards. The late 1920s solidified the Aero brand identity. They were the builders of simple, reliable front-wheel drive cars that defied their tiny engine size. But the single-cylinder engine soon reached its performance limit. The public loved the economy, but demanded more power, especially as Czech road infrastructure improved. The company understood that for long-distance touring and higher speed requirements, the architecture needed expansion. This realization set the stage for the next leap. Aero engineers went back to the drawing board, determined to maintain the minimalism and two-stroke simplicity, but this time they decided to double the power and engine capacity. The foundation was laid on simplicity, affordability, and front-wheel drive innovation. The next chapter would see the arrival of the two-cylinder engine, which would dramatically elevate Aero's competitive standing in both the domestic and international racing scene. Despite the initial success of the single-cylinder Aero 500, the engineers knew that true market penetration and performance credibility required more power. The answer was a direct and elegant expansion of their core philosophy, maintaining simplicity while doubling the engine size. This technological leap arrived in 1931 with the introduction of the Aero 662. The car's name signified its new displacement, a 662cc engine. Crucially, it was a two-cylinder, two-stroke unit, essentially two Aero 500 engines sharing a single block. The two-cylinder configuration immediately transformed the driving experience. Power output was nearly doubled to approximately 18 horsepower, and the engine ran much smoother and with less vibration than its single-cylinder predecessor, though it retained the characteristic sound of the two-stroke cycle. The 662 maintained the core tenets of the Aero design: front-wheel drive and an exceptionally lightweight chassis. This combination meant that the increase in power translated directly into a significant improvement in acceleration and top speed, making the 662 a genuinely usable touring car. The chassis architecture remained minimalist and strong, featuring a backbone-like frame, but the dimensions were slightly stretched to accommodate the larger engine and offer more substantial bodywork. This signaled Aero's move into the small to mid-size car segment. The Aero 662 rapidly became the brand's volume seller. It perfectly hit the sweet spot of the Czechoslovakian market, better performance than the smallest rivals, yet far more affordable and economical than larger four-stroke European competitors. The increased market success allowed Aero to collaborate with various independent coach builders, leading to a wider variety of elegant body styles. Customers could now choose from streamlined sedans, sophisticated cabriolets, and even small practical delivery vans. The confidence in the 662's engineering prompted Aero to launch an aggressive and highly successful factory motorsport program. This was the era where Aero truly carved out its reputation for durability and high-speed endurance. The 662 quickly became a dominant force in the smaller displacement categories of international rallies and road races. Its combination of lightweight and superior front-wheel drive traction gave it an edge, especially on slippery, difficult road surfaces. A pivotal moment came in the 1932 10,000 Czechoslovakian miles race, 10,000 mil Czechoslovenskik. Aero 662s delivered a stunning performance, dominating their class and proving their exceptional reliability under grueling, sustained, high-speed conditions. These wins in these public endurance trials were invaluable. They transformed public perception, demonstrating that Aero's innovative, small-engine two-stroke design was not a compromise, but a deliberate choice of superior engineering capable of handling extreme stress. This racing success was not confined to Czechoslovakia. Aero began exporting the 662 to several European countries, including Hungary and Austria, where its robust construction and low running costs made it an appealing exotic alternative to domestic brands. The two-stroke engine of the 662 was praised for its simplicity, which allowed for minimal servicing. The low component count and the inherent reliability of the design meant lower ownership costs, a major factor during the lingering global economic depression. Aero further refined the two-cylinder concept, leading to the slightly larger Aero 750 model, which appeared in 1933. This was not a completely new car, but a running improvement, featuring a modestly increased displacement for even better torque. The 750 models often received more advanced, streamlined bodywork, reflecting the growing trend toward aerodynamic styling in the mid-1930s. The aviation influence became increasingly visible in the car's smooth, flowing lines. The period also marked the beginning of Aero's exploration into special racing variants. Factory teams experimented with highly modified low-drag bodies and tuned engines, pushing the two-stroke technology to its absolute limits for competition. Aero's design language during this period remained distinctive. The cars often featured a pronounced sloping bonnet that housed the longitudinally mounted engine and transaxle, emphasizing the front-wheel drive layout. The company also successfully maintained its separate identity from its Czech rivals, such as Tatra and Škoda. While Tatra focused on large, air-cooled, rear-engined Aero cars, and Škoda on mass-market conventional vehicles, Aero championed the lightweight front-wheel drive two-stroke niche. The success of the two-cylinder era provided Aero with the commercial success and engineering confidence needed for the next great expansion. The only way to achieve true luxury and compete with the established four-stroke manufacturers was one step further: the four-cylinder engine.
Despite the undeniable success of the two-cylinder models, particularly the 662 and 750, Aero recognized that the pinnacle of the European automobile market demanded the inherent smoothness, prestige, and power of a four-cylinder engine. The limitation of the two-stroke twin lay in its inability to generate sustained high speeds necessary for modern long-distance touring. This demand for more refinement and performance led to the most significant engineering overhaul in the company's automotive history: the development of the four-cylinder, two-stroke engine. This design was not simply two 750 twins put together. It was a completely rationalized engine architecture, designated the Aero 1000. Launched in 1934, the Aero 1000 represented a massive step up. Its name indicated its displacement of 1,000 cc's, and the four-cylinder layout allowed for far superior balance and power delivery. The output climbed to an impressive 26 horsepower, providing a genuine boost to performance. The increased power finally allowed Aero cars to maintain cruising speeds comparable to more established four-stroke European competitors, cementing the brand's position as a serious manufacturer of mid-sized touring cars. This was a direct result of their commitment to two-stroke efficiency. The chassis of the Aero 1000 was a refined and reinforced version of the familiar FWD backbone frame. The engine was mounted longitudinally, driving the front wheels through a sophisticated gearbox. This maintained the brand's unique selling point of maximized interior space and superior handling. The FWD architecture was a masterstroke, proving its worth over the conventional rear-wheel drive competitors, particularly in adverse weather conditions. The Aero 1000 was celebrated for its predictable handling and excellent road grip, features directly inherited from the company's aviation principles. Styling underwent an equally dramatic transformation. The angular, upright bodies of the early models were replaced by sleek, modern, and highly aerodynamic bodywork, often referred to as streamline or Stromlinen design, reflecting the latest European trends. The four-cylinder chassis led to the Aero 40 model, which quickly became the definitive mid-30s Aero. These cars featured beautifully rounded lines, long, flowing fenders, and fully skirted wheels, reducing drag and visually distinguishing them from their predecessors. The company fully embraced this new aesthetic. The aviation connection was now visually explicit, with the cars looking as though they were designed to cut through the air, embodying the concept of speed and efficiency on the road. Aero's commitment to motorsport intensified with the powerful four-cylinder platform. The factory team, equipped with the 1000cc models, began competing in larger and more prestigious international events, moving beyond local trials into continental road races. A crowning achievement of this era was the incredible performance in the 1934 1000 Czechoslovakian miles race. The Aero 1000s dominated their class, showcasing not just speed, but astonishing reliability over the intense 1,000-mile course. These racing cars, often lightly modified production models, highlighted the inherent strength of the Aero design. The continuous high-speed running proved that the two-stroke engine, when properly engineered in a four-cylinder configuration, was viable for serious competition. The commercial rewards were instantaneous. International recognition led to increased export orders, and Aero became a symbol of Czechoslovakian engineering pride, showcasing that the young republic could produce technically advanced automobiles on par with older Western European powers. The Aero factory in Prague expanded significantly during this time to cope with the demand. The efficiency gained from standardized production techniques, perfected during the military and two-stroke eras, allowed them to maintain high quality despite increased volume. Aero also began to focus on cabin refinement. While the early cars were Spartan, the Aero 1000 and 40 offered increasingly comfortable interiors, often featuring quality upholstery and more amenities, reflecting their higher price point and luxury aspirations. This period also saw the introduction of specialty models built on the 1000cc chassis. Highly desirable were the elegant sport roadsters and aerodynamic coupe variants, often custom-built and reserved for racing patrons or the wealthiest Czech clientele. The company engaged in progressive marketing, often linking the cars directly to their aviation routes. Advertisements frequently featured a car speeding alongside a low-flying Aero biplane, emphasizing the shared design philosophy of speed and efficiency. The success of the four-cylinder design was so complete that it prompted the company to consider pushing the two-stroke concept even further. If 1000 cc's was good, then a larger displacement would unlock true high-end luxury and high-performance potential. Aero stood at the threshold of its ultimate engineering challenge. The next step would introduce their most powerful two-stroke engine, combining the simplicity of their core design with the sophistication of advanced aerodynamic bodywork, a final, glorious chapter before the shadow of war descended. The stage was meticulously set. The engineering was robust, the design was sleek, and the brand was globally recognized for its FWD prowess. The next generation of Aero, the Aero 30 and the flagship Aero 50, would be the pinnacle of their achievement.
Having mastered the four-cylinder architecture,
Aero was poised to launch its most successful and technically refined lineup. The mid to late 1930s saw the debut of the Aero 30 and the flagship Aero 50, models that would come to define the zenith of Czechoslovakian interwar automotive engineering. The Aero 30, introduced around 1936, quickly became the brand's best-seller and the benchmark for affordable yet stylish front-wheel drive cars in Central Europe. It was a perfectly balanced synthesis of the economy of the two-stroke engine and modern, spacious design. The car was powered by an advanced 998cc two-stroke engine, similar to the 1000, but fine-tuned for increased reliability and efficiency. Its power output was raised to a robust 30 horsepower, hence the name Aero 30, providing lively performance for its class. The body of the Aero 30 fully embraced the sleek aerodynamic trend. Available as elegant roadsters, comfortable sedans, and practical cabriolets, the styling was clean and flowing, further emphasizing the lightness and speed inherited from the company's aircraft division. The FWD chassis, now completely refined, offered exceptional stability and road holding. This made the Aero 30 a favorite among professional drivers and enthusiastic owners who appreciated its predictable handling, especially when navigating the challenging mountain passes of Central Europe. The model also featured sophisticated suspension, including independent suspension at the front, which greatly enhanced ride comfort, a significant selling point for a car positioned between the austerity of true economy cars and the opulence of large luxury vehicles. However, the true flagship, designed to compete head-on with foreign luxury brands, was the powerful Aero 50, launched in 1936. This was the largest, fastest, and most prestigious automobile ever produced by the Prague factory. The Aero 50 was powered by a massive, for the company, 2-liter, 2,198cc, four-cylinder two-stroke engine. This engine was essentially an enlarged, highly refined version of the previous four-cylinder design, delivering an impressive 50 horsepower. The engine's power output finally pushed Aero into the high-speed category. The car was capable of reaching speeds well over 130 kilometers per hour, making it a legitimate high-speed tourer, suitable for the emerging European highway networks. The styling of the Aero 50 was pure art. The long, majestic bonnet, housing the substantial 2-liter engine, flowed seamlessly into a generously proportioned cabin. The bodies were often custom-built by renowned Czech coach builders like Sodomka and Vršovická karosárna. These cars were masterpieces of pre-war aerodynamic design, often featuring distinctive teardrop bodies, integrated headlights, and fully skirted rear wheels, presenting a unified, streamlined aesthetic that embodied the height of 1930s futurism. The Aero 50 was primarily offered as a high-end luxury sedan and an absolutely stunning cabriolet, the latter being highly sought after for its elegance and rare combination of two-stroke power and FWD sophistication in a luxury format. The flagship model's appeal was further amplified by its success in endurance racing. The factory team entered the Aero 50 into some of the toughest European races, proving that the two-stroke concept could deliver not just speed, but also immense durability. The two-liter Aero 50 achieved fame in the challenging Rally Monte Carlo, where its superior front-wheel drive grip proved invaluable on the treacherous, icy mountain stages, allowing it to outperform many more powerful rear-wheel drive competitors. This consistent performance in international events like the Monte Carlo Rally and the 1,000 Czechoslovakian miles solidified Aero's global reputation. It was proof that small, smart engineering could beat brute force and conventional design. The cars were also driven by pioneering figures. The famous Czech long-distance driver, Eliska Junkova, might have driven different marks, but the spirit of adventurous, independent driving was perfectly captured by Aero's robust roadsters. Aero also became a symbol of national identity and technological maturity. The company's advertisements proudly displayed the Aero 50 alongside the latest Czech-built aircraft, strongly linking the two disciplines and celebrating domestic industrial prowess. The production process at the Prague factory reached its peak efficiency during this period. The FWD transaxle and two-stroke engine components were manufactured with the same precision applied to aircraft parts, ensuring exceptional build quality. The company's sales figures soared. The Aero 30 was the profitable volume seller, bringing in necessary capital, while the Aero 50 provided the prestige and technological flagship status required to maintain brand image at the high end of the market. However, this golden age was tragically short-lived. By 1938, the geopolitical situation in Central Europe began to deteriorate rapidly. The Munich Agreement and the subsequent German occupation cast a dark shadow over the thriving Czechoslovakian industry.
The rapid success of the Aero 30 and 50 was brutally interrupted by the dark political developments of 1938 and 1939. The signing of the Munich Agreement, followed by the complete occupation of Czechoslovakia by Nazi Germany, brought the company's golden age of civilian production to an immediate and catastrophic halt. With the establishment of the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia, the thriving Czechoslovakian industry, including the Aero factory in Prague, was placed under the direct control of the German military administration. The primary objective instantly shifted from elegant civilian cars to the uncompromising demands of the Wehrmacht. The assembly lines, which had previously built the sleek, futuristic bodies of the Aero 50 cabriolets, were quickly converted to produce specialized military vehicles and, more importantly, aircraft components, utilizing the company's foundational expertise. All production of the Aero 30 and Aero 50 was permanently terminated. The specialized tooling for the two-stroke FWD engines and the unique chassis was either repurposed for military use or, in some cases, intentionally dismantled and stored to prevent it from falling into disrepair or being used by the German occupiers in the long term. Aero's unique engineering skill was applied to military transport. The factory began manufacturing small, robust Kübelwagen-style utility vehicles adapted from existing chassis designs, though often utilizing parts and components from earlier production runs where possible. These utility vehicles, known for their lightweight and reliable performance, were vital for logistical support, serving as staff cars and light transport vehicles across the eastern and western fronts, showcasing the enduring durability of Aero's underlying engineering. However, the main focus reverted to the company's origins, aviation. The Germans utilized the Prague facility, known for its high standards and skilled workforce, to build and maintain aircraft for the Luftwaffe, particularly training planes and transport aircraft.
The factory produced components for various German aircraft, requiring extreme precision and large-scale metalworking capabilities. This intensive wartime production, while technically demanding, meant the factory survived as a functioning entity, unlike those producing only luxury civilian goods. Despite the forced cooperation, the Czech workforce maintained a quiet, subtle resistance. Acts of sabotage, slowdowns, and deliberate manufacturing errors were common occurrences, attempts to undermine the German war effort wherever possible. The period was marked by intellectual stagnation in terms of civilian design. All creative energy was suppressed, and engineering talent was strictly controlled, forced to serve the Nazi military machine instead of developing the next generation of streamlined passenger cars. As the war dragged on, the factory complex became a crucial target for Allied air power. Aero's proximity to other strategic industrial sites in Prague made it vulnerable to repeated bombing raids, especially toward the end of the conflict. The heavy bombing inflicted substantial damage to the assembly halls and precision machinery, destroying much of the specialized tooling that might have been used for a quick return to civilian car manufacturing after the war. Many essential molds, jigs, and presses, the physical legacy of the Aero 30 and 50 production, were tragically lost forever under the rubble. The destruction was a catastrophic loss to Czech industrial heritage. By 1945, the factory was severely crippled, production had mostly ceased, and the end of the war was in sight. However, the liberation of Czechoslovakia brought with it not a return to the Golden Age, but an entirely new political reality. With the defeat of Germany, the provisional Czech government immediately took control of all major industrial assets, including Aero. The process of nationalization began, profoundly changing the ownership structure and future direction of the company. The original shareholders and pre-war management were removed, and the company was reorganized under a state-owned industrial trust. The decision of what to produce would no longer be dictated by market forces, but by central state planning. Despite the political upheaval, the initial post-war atmosphere was optimistic. Engineers immediately dusted off their civilian plans, determined to reclaim the pre-war legacy of FWD innovation and use it to aid in the country's reconstruction. Early efforts focused on repairing surviving Aero 30 and 50s, cannibalizing parts to keep the few remaining civilian cars on the road. This kept the workforce engaged and preserved some of the technical knowledge base. However, it was clear that the company could not simply restart the production of the luxurious 2-liter Aero 50. The post-war economy demanded a smaller, simpler, more fuel-efficient vehicle designed for the common worker. This focus on austerity and utility set the stage for one final remarkable effort to carry the Aero name into the future: the design and development of a successor model that would embody the minimalist brilliance of the original cars, built entirely on the ruins of the past.
The collapse of Nazi Germany and the liberation of Czechoslovakia ignited a brief but intense period of hope for the Aero automobile division. Despite the severe damage to the Prague factory, the engineering teams were quickly mobilized, determined to reclaim the pre-war legacy of lightweight, efficient front-wheel drive cars. The priority of the newly nationalized state enterprise was not the luxurious Aero 50, but a simple, robust vehicle for the reconstruction of the country. This led directly to the development of the Aero Minor, a small, modern car designed to meet the immediate post-war demand for affordable transportation. The Minor was an evolution of Aero's core principles. It featured a small 615cc two-stroke, two-cylinder engine, delivering a modest but adequate power output. Like its predecessors, it utilized the signature front-wheel drive system, ensuring excellent traction and maximal cabin space for its size. The design of the Aero miner was streamlined and distinctly modern, a blend of pre-war aerodynamic styling and post-war utility. It was economical, easy to maintain, and possessed the structural integrity inherited from the company's aviation roots. Crucially, the miner was developed using the surviving tooling and components, demonstrating incredible ingenuity on the part of the engineers working with very limited resources in the damaged factory. It was a car born out of necessity and national pride. The car was technically ready for mass production by 1946. However, the political reality of centralized state planning soon intervened. The government decided to consolidate the fractured Czech automotive industry under a series of state trusts. The government decreed that the Aero miner production would not take place at the original Aero factory in Prague, which was needed for aircraft production, but would be transferred to the Java motorcycle factory in Kwazini and later to the Letov aircraft factory. This decision effectively severed the car production division from its parent company. The vehicle was subsequently marketed as the Java miner or simply the miner, a confusing but necessary compromise dictated by the new political economy. Despite the loss of the Aero nameplate, the miner was a strong technical success. It was exported to various countries, including the Netherlands and Australia, where its reliability and FWD handling were praised, proving the enduring quality of the original Aero design philosophy. The miner also inherited the racing spirit of its predecessors. A specially prepared version of the miner, named the Miner Sport, was entered into the prestigious 1949 24 Hours of Le Mans endurance race, where it achieved an astonishing class victory. The Le Mans victory was a final, glorious demonstration of the inherent brilliance of the lightweight FWD two-stroke platform. It was a proud moment for Czech engineering, proving its worth on the world stage, even under the new, restrictive political climate. However, by the early 1950s, the State Planning Commission made its final, definitive decision. The two-stroke FWD design was deemed incompatible with the future standardization goals of the Eastern Bloc automotive industry, which favored more conventional four-stroke engines. The production of the miner was finally terminated in 1952, marking the absolute and final end of automobile production under the direct technical lineage of the original Aero company. The Aero factory in Prague focused entirely on aircraft manufacturing for the following decades. The original Aero name therefore continued to live solely in the aviation sector, building planes like the successful L-29 Delphin jet trainer, a powerful, if entirely different legacy from its automotive past. The memory of the Aero car division, however, endures through its pioneering FWD technology. Along with DKW and Adler, Aero proved the commercial and competitive viability of the front-wheel drive layout decades before it became the industry standard. The sophisticated aerodynamic styling of the pre-war Aero 50, especially the bodies built by Sudomka, is now recognized as a high point of Central European Art Deco and streamlined design, influencing designers across the continent. Today, surviving Aero automobiles, particularly the Roadsters and the flagship 50s, are highly prized collector's items. They are celebrated not just for their rarity, but as physical testaments to a period of daring innovation and technical optimism. Enthusiasts and classic car clubs keep the Aero name alive through restoration projects and participation in historic rallies, ensuring that the legacy of these spirited, small but powerful cars is preserved for future generations. The story of Aero is a powerful narrative of transition, from the air to the road, from pioneering to prestige, and finally, from free enterprise to state control. It is a microcosm of 20th century Central European industry.